In this video, we're finally going to look at some good formative assessment when using MinecraftEDU. We're going to do this by using things like the camera, portfolio, book and quill, and even the lectern. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go grab those. So let's click the E button to our inventory. You're going to find all these within the items category. You can always search it, but they're kind of right beside each other in items. So if I go down here, I'm going to set these up in the order I would use. So the first thing I need is the camera. So I click on that, drag that down. Then I'll grab the portfolio, the book and quill. I also like to use a lectern in my teaching. So move those down, hit the escape button, and now we're ready to go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take pictures of our world. So maybe they've built something really great, they're explaining something in literacy, who knows, but we can use a camera to take a picture of that. So here I have my test student and a DSBN greeter here. So on the right hand side, you can see when I click the right mouse, it does use. So let's do that. And it takes a picture just like that. Now, there's another way you can use a camera too, because maybe you want to take a selfie and be in the shot as well. So when I aim at the ground with my camera, notice it now says place. So when I click place, the camera goes there. Now this is the cool thing. To use the camera, you actually have to click the right hand button again where you take the picture. But notice the camera follows you. So you kind of line up and there you get it. So it disappears once you use it. So let's try that again. I'm going to place it. So sometimes it's hard to kind of line up what you're shooting. But the nice thing is, as it follows you, you can kind of move back. It's always focused on you. So there you go, I'm in the center of that photo. So that's the many ways we can use the camera. Now, to see those pictures, we're going to use our portfolio. So when I open the portfolio, it's not a placement or anything, it just opens to show all the pictures you've taken. Now, as I said, with the camera, it takes every single picture. That means it's kind of like the old school photos, the good ones and the bad ones. So there they all are there. The good news is you can delete any one you don't want, but you can also add a little caption. So I can go in here. You only get 2 lines. That's about as big as you can get. But you can just kind of go through and you can click the ones you want, the ones you don't want. And that's pretty much what a portfolio does. So it's just a little quick snippet with a picture that you can use. Now, the nice thing about this is the immersive reader does work even with the captions here. So if I click on the immersive reader, so here it can go by page, and now when I hit play,
Page 1. Mr. K with the
it'll read everything to you. So let's get out of that. So that's your portfolio. So let's look at the book and quill now. So the same thing, you put it in your inventory and you can see now it says write. So I click that write button and here's what you get now for this. So this is a little bit different than a portfolio because you have a large space to write now. Now, one thing I want you to note is you can't just click anywhere and start rewriting. So you can see I have a wrong letter there. You actually have to go back all the way with the arrow buttons until you get back to what you want. So make sure spelling, all that good stuff is done because it's kind of a pain to go back and edit that. Now, so I have lots of writing there, but if you notice down below, I also have a little pencil. This pencil opens up another menu. So right now I can move the page forward. I can add a new page. I can add a picture or throw it in the garbage and delete it. Let's add a picture. And no surprise, these pictures come directly from my portfolio. So these are all the pictures I've taken in this world. So it saves them all. So let's go with this DSBN greeter. There it is. And notice now that I have 2 pages, I can move the page forward and backwards. So maybe I want this page ahead of it. So I'm able to do that and kind of recreate how I want this book to look. Once again, you'll notice the immersive reader's there, so it works for that as well. Now, let's get into what do we do with these portfolios and books when we're done. Well, the good news is with a book, when I'm finished the book, so you can use as many pages you want, it goes up to 50. When I click sign, you can actually enter the title. The big thing to notice is when you sign this, you're no longer able to edit this. But that's okay because I'm done with this. I want to sign and close. And now look what happened to my book down here. It now becomes this glowing purple book because when I look at this book, it's a finished copy. And what do we do with our finished copy sometimes? Well, we have 2 options. Number 1, I can actually export this book. So when I click export, it wants me to save it to my computer. It actually saves as a PDF. So I'm going to double click on that to show you what it looks like. And here you go. This is my PDF of my book that I just saved. So it does go page by page, so it's going to be a rather large book. You can change the page view to kind of do a 2-pager, kind of like what the portfolio and the book and quill look like. So here it is. So you just kind of go through. So you now have a copy of that you can have as a PDF. Let's go back to the game though, because there is something else you can do with a signed book. And this is where the lectern comes in. So I'm going to place my lectern, and there it is. So it's kind of neat because the lectern just works as a holder. So I'm going to click on my book. Now this doesn't work with the portfolio. It only works with the signed book or enchanted books. I'm going to place that book. Now look at that. So there's a place book. Now the cool thing is that my test student can come on over and they can actually open up that book and they can see that book, and then they can export it and read it. So you can kind of use this as instruction, but also use as documentation formative assessment. Now, when I go in, I can even remove the book. Now, what's funny is what happened, it's hard to see because my test student's in the way. Removing the book doesn't necessarily get rid of it. Let's place it again and watch when I remove it. The book actually comes into a copy. And what's going to happen now is if my test student comes over and grabs that, he now has a copy of my book. So it's kind of neat. It's almost like a library where you can do a book exchange, which is kind of fun. So those are how you can do some formative assessments with the camera, portfolio, and book and quill. Remember, both the portfolio and book and quill can be exported to PDF. Just remember as well, with the book and quill, you have to sign it for it to be exported. Those are some ways you can do formative assessment right directly in Minecraft.